broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Senatorial candidate and labor lawyer Luke Espiritu goes viral after getting into a heated argument with two fellow contenders in a debate. At the SMNI senatorial debate Wednesday, Espiritu clashed with former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque and suspended lawyer Larry Gadon about martial law. That's after Espiritu said schools should teach children about the human rights violations under the late dictator, former President Ferdinand Marcos. Let's watch this.
I'll go by the
Bakit
record.
yung isisisi kay Marcos yun?
It's my time.
We should not use this forum for a propaganda against the Marcoses.
Binuksan mo ang usapan, wag mo akong pagbawalan. I go by the record, Amnesty International, 3,257 ang pinatay nung panahon ni Marcos. 35,000 ang mga It's my time, wag kang bastos.
Kung ano man ang nangyari sa nakaraan, inisa-isa ko po ang records. Wala pong kaso for human rights violation sa Amerika si Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Sa isa ko rin po ang mga kaso na decided po ng ating Philippine Supreme Court. Totoo po, co-administrator si Ferdinand Bobong Marcos, wala pong kaso na siya mismo nagnakaw.
With all due respect to Attorney Harry Roque, I know your history. You were anti-Marcos before. You were for human rights before. Your life, you spent your life against the Marcoses, you work for human rights, and now that you were given a Senate spot under the party of Bongbong Marcos, now you cry hallelujah and praise Marcos.
There was nothing respectful with what you said against me. Ang katotohanan po ang pinag-uusapan, hindi po ang patay na Marcos, ang pinag-uusapan ang buhay na Marcos. Sa akin po, panagutin ang mga nagkasala, pero yung mga hindi po gumawa ng kahit anong kasalanan, wag po natin idamay sa sisi.
Espiritu is on the senatorial slate of Caliotti de Guzman and Walden Bello. We now go above and beyond the headlines with the man himself, ang sabi daw di bardagulan, senatorial candidate and labor lawyer Luke Espiritu. Attorney Luke, magandang hapon sa inyo.
Yes, magandang hapon.
I'm sorry, magandang gabi pala. Sorry.
Yes, magandang gabi at sa inyo at saka sa mga viewers ninyo.
Okay, so bardagulan daw. You are our, in a very long time, our first studio guest, emphasis on studio,
yes.
Dahil na alert level 1, no? Pero, alam mo, chinek ko yung Twitter mo so kagabi daw, mga 2,000, no? Followers mo.
I actually, I'm not sure because the Twitter is handled by my team.
Okay.
But of course, in consultation with me.
Okay, FYI, 17,800.
Oh.
As of 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
Oo, pero ang kailangan mo, hindi Twitter followers, kundi boto. Tama?
Yes, we need votes and we need supporters and we need to create a movement against all of these lies that are going around.
A movement against all these lies. Okay, let's talk about last night's debate, no? So, meron kang sinabi after, parang kulang pa ang bakbakan, gustong-gusto mong parang gigil na gigil ka, at sabi sana marami pang enkwentro with sina attorneys Gadon and Roque.
Because we need to expose these people. They are peddling lies about this chapter in our nation's history, which is the darkest chapter. And you know, it is really difficult if our new generation of Filipinos are learning these lies and imbibing the values of the regime of Marcos. Kasi yung regime na yan na hindi rumirespeto sa human rights at gino-glorify ang authoritarian rule. And if we have that as values, kawawa naman ang ating lipunan.
You didn't mince any words last night, no? Like as we showed, wag kang bastos, and then you were telling Harry na, you're singing hallelujah to the Marcoses now. Ano to, Attorney Luke? Parang nothing to lose, just dish it all
It was not intended, although I think it's bound to happen. If you put the three of us in a room, it's bound to happen that we're going to argue. But it was never intended. I was triggered by the comment of Larry Gadon to a question about juvenile or children in conflict with the law. And he inserted a comment about priests teaching children about the evils of the Marcos regime. So it was a debate. And if it was a debate, you should be ready to refute that point.
To do a rebuttal.
And I was doing that when he interrupted me. Eh kung hindi niya ako in-interrupt, hindi naman ganun acrimonious ang exchange. But he did eh. So I had to stand my ground. And then Harry Roque came to his defense, and I also have to answer Harry Roque. So that's what happened. If he did not insert that comment, I would just have answered the questions that were thrown to us by the panel.
Okay. Meron ka ring sinabi kagabi, no? Medyo nakaka-nervous kasi when someone, politiko, kandidato, or lawmaker, the minute you say, with all due respect, parang hindi totoo eh. Parang bardagulan na talaga.
That's what we do in court. Because for me, our training as lawyers, if we may argue, and then heatedly, but then after that, we call ourselves Panyero. And that's actually how we address each other, with all due respect. That's genuine. Because I'm not against you personally. That's our training as lawyers.
But you are against what they say.
What they represent.
What they represent.
And we could have a heated argument, but later on, we could call ourselves Panyero, no problem.
Okay. Let's talk very briefly about your background. So you went to, you're born in Bacolod, so you went to school, the first few years of grade school in Bacolod.
Yes.
And then lumipat kayo dito na Manila, La Salle Grade School, Ateneo High School, Ateneo College, Ateneo
Law school.
Law School.
Yes.
No? And then, so college 97, 2002.
Law school.
Law school.
Yes.
Okay. Talk to us about that first. And, because syempre people are wondering, parang you seem to have had a privileged upbringing. Those are the words that were used on social media. And it's not hindi naman siya, it's not criticism of you. It's an observation. Parang privileged upbringing, privileged background. And then you end up here as a labor lawyer. Tell us what happened.
Actually, my life is a contradiction. Okay, we were not wealthy. My father was also a lawyer, but he has to raise 7 children.
Wow.
He was
okay.
a lawyer.
7. You are number what?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And hindi naman kami ganun kayaman. Professional lang ang tatay ko. At ang mga kaibigan ko ay, simula pa nung bata ako, ay yung mga kapitbahay namin sa kanto. And tapos naging religious pa ako, naging katikista. Therefore, talagang ang nakakasalamuha ko talaga ay yung mga nasa underprivileged ng ating lipunan. And you talk to anyone who knows me, hindi ako privileged. At talagang masang-masa ang aking lifestyle.
Oo.
In fact, matatawa sila pag sinabi niyong privileged ako. Doon lang ako nag-Amerikana sa SMNIA.
Ganon. Okay.
Yes, but if you really knew me and saw me on the street, talagang masa, napagkakamalan nga ako Kahit lawyer na, napagkakamalan tayong marami na, taxi driver, taga-ayos ng aircon. No one will say na elite ako. And that contradiction is what really contributed to what I'm doing right now. Because although my father is a lawyer, then that also qualifies us as middle class. Therefore, I could afford, or my father could afford to send me to Ateneo. Pero yung kultura ko naman masa, manggagawa naman, ang nakakasalamuha ko masa at manggagawa. Therefore, fusing the two, then my intellectual development will only lead me towards the workers.
So when you were in school, for example, Ateneo College, I went to Ateneo also, so you would hang out where? And then with who? What were your school orgs?
My friends were scholars in the Ateneo.
Okay.
Because the Ateneo, even from sa high school until college, maraming scholars yan Yun ang mga kaibigan ko. Yung mga binigyan ng free tuition sa Ateneo, and they were deserving students from the public schools. So you would see kung ano yung aking kultura. Kultura ko talaga masa. And then in the Ateneo, wala namang aktivismo at the time. But I was born in the Marcos era. So I was politicized at the time. My father was involved in a case, extrajudicial killing in Kabangkalan, Mayor Pablo Sola. That was a case
What were
where
you involved in a case?
He prosecuted the landlord who was accused of killing the tenant farmers in Kabangkalan. And as growing up, those are the things that you see, you hear, and the priests in Bacolod were all activist priests. So I was pretty much politicized even when I was young. Pero walang aktivismo nung college ako until kasi bumagsak yung Soviet Union at the time. It was a time na medyo humihina ang aktivismo sa mga schools. So until law school yan. And then the Gloria Arroyo became president, and I could not accept that. And then that was the time na I was reaching out to different groups until I was so-called discovered by San Lakas.
Discovered.
Yes.
Yeah. But you could have, like, as a lawyer, you could have gone corporate. You were with, what is it, IBM?
Chavez Miranda
Okay.
Asiocho, the law firm founded by former Solicitor General Frank Chavez.
Okay.
Yes. I joined them in 2004 until 2008, and the reason why I left was because I told Frank Chavez when I was alive, I'm going to join the revolution. Yes. And
Which revolution? Which one?
2008. Well, that was just a matter of speaking, but I'm going to join the mass movement, which will be.
So, kumbaga dun talaga yung puso mo na you wanted to be on the labor front lines and picket lines, ganun.
Yes, at heart, I'm an activist.
Okay. What is it? We're going to have to take a quick break. Do we need to take a break right now? Yeah. Okay, wala na tayong break. Dire-diretso na tayo. Sige. Okay, I also brought up yung Ateneo background mo kasi nag-com arts ka, no? Communication arts. And earlier, before the show, I was asking you, com arts, why would you take com arts? And then biglang nag-abogado. And you said, it was just a pre-law course.
Yeah, it was pre-law. I was not really into it. So I just, my aim was really to become a lawyer. It was a random choice in the Ateneo. I just wanted to breeze through college so that I will have a pre-law degree. And then I'll proceed to law school.
Okay. And, well, I was wondering also communications, which could mean that, alam mo yung value of communicating, and therefore, value of communicating in a clear and concise manner, the way you did. No,
I learned that not from school. I learned that from Ninoy Aquino. And from the great orators like Malcolm X. I study them. I study their style. Because honestly, I think that it's part of convincing our kababayans.
Okay. Let's talk about the legislation, the kind of legislation you would like to do if you are elected. Although, if you look at the surveys, parang medyo nandun ka sa
I'm
baba.
at the bottom.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. But, kapag nakita mo yung listahan na yon, syempre isipin ng tae, kaya pala ninenervous yung mga negosyante at mga negosyo sa kanya, kung quote-unquote, kung ano-anong naisip niya, no? The question here is, what's good for business and businessmen doon sa mga gusto mong mangyari, di ba? Like, you don't want any more, yung mga
manpower agencies. Yes. It's not bad for them. It's not bad for them because the manpower agencies are useless. They are parasites.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement. Gama sa Davao, para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement. Ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. But, kapag nakita mo yung listahan na yon, syempre isipin ng tae, kaya pala ninenervous yung mga negosyante at mga negosyo sa kanya, kung quote-unquote, kung ano-anong naisip niya, no? The question here is, what's good for business and businessmen doon sa mga gusto mong mangyari, di ba? Like, you don't want any more, yung mga manpower agencies.
Yes. It's not bad for them. It's not bad for them because the manpower agencies are useless. They are parasites. they don't have any purpose or importance in doing business. They are just another layer created in order for our companies and establishments to deny employer and employee relationships. We will do away with the manpower agencies, business will go on. And imagine niyo to, Pia, okay? You hire a worker and then you give 10% on top of their salary to the manpower agency. You actually spend more for each worker. So for every worker you hire and pay 537 pesos, that's at least based on the DOLE regulations, based on Department Order 174, the manpower agency will get 10% equivalent of 537. That's 53.7 more that you pay for every worker because you have to pay the manpower agency. And I'm talking about the minimum. Others charge 12%. So why do they do that? Why would they spend more? But when the worker, organizes a union and proposes CBA, hindi nga nila nakukuha yung 53.7 pesos increase a day. Ang mga binibigay lang ng mga establishments natin ay minsan piso, 2 piso, 10 piso, malaki na. But they're willing to spend 53.7.
Yeah. Calyodi brought it up also during the debate, 750 pesos minimum wage. Do you think that's even possible? Is that something that businessmen, big business will want to do?
Yes, because salaries are really below, way below cost of living. And ideally, you pay your worker the cost of living. That's how the system works. You pay your workers anything that is necessary for the worker to be able to work the next day, meaning to say everything, food and electricity, anything that is necessary for that, that's what you pay the worker. And the excess of that is your profit. So, if you pay the worker his cost of living, meaning to say your profit is still secured. But the problem is, we pay the workers here in our country below his cost of living. Secretary Pernia already said that for a worker to be able to survive, he has to earn 42,000 pesos a month. That's 1,615 a day. And if you give 537, that's only, what, 1/3 or less than 1/3 of his cost of living. 750 is not even equivalent to the cost of living. Medyo discount pa nga eh. Because our formulation is give the worker 750, then we will have to look for policies to reduce the cost of living. Meaning to say, para hindi na gumastos yung mga negosyante, pababain natin yung kuryente, pababain natin yung tubig.
Naku, ang daming aaray dyan.
Actually, matutuwa ang negosyante dapat dyan. Kasi part ng cost of production niya, kuryente. Di ba? Ang taas-taas ng cost of production niya, dahil ang taas-taas ng kuryente, number 1 tayo sa pinakamahal na kuryente sa Pilipinas. Dapat, pagka yan ang programa natin, pababain natin ang kuryente, para ang mga manggagawa naman natin ay mabuhay at mabumaba ang kanilang cost of living. Equivalent rin yun sa pagbaba ng cost of production ng mga
negosyante. Baka ang umaray naman doon, yung kumpanya ng kuryente, yung...
dapat lang, alam mo, sobra-sobra tubong lugaw yung kita nila. I also represented, the Watchdog Freedom from Debt Coalition in the ERC. Ang laki-laki ng kinikita nila, guaranteed na return on rate base. Hindi sila aray dapat doon. Like for example, kumikita ka halimbawa ng 10 million sa negosyo mo. Babawasan mo yung 10 million ng 2 million. Mayroon ka pa rin 8 million. Binawasan mo ng 2 million. Hindi ka na ba magnenegosyo nun? May 8 million ka pa nga eh. Konting bawas lang para naman medyo makatarungan naman ang ating sistema dito.
Do you really think you can win, or is this like parang the impossible dream, Don Quixote, going up against the windmills?
There are two aspects to the way I see it.
By the way, you have 18,300 followers now. I just checked on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Going back to that question,
yes, the question.
There are two ways I look at it. I would like to adopt yung sinabi ni na Italian socialist Gramsci. Sabi niya, pessimism of the intellect, optimism of the will. Meaning to say, when you look at things and evaluate things, you must, have the pessimism of the intellect. You accept what are your weaknesses and try to assess. But then optimism of the will, meaning to say, you have to move forward and fight for victory. And that's what we do. I see the surveys, mababa ako, pero that does not stop us from campaigning for victory. Now, whatever is the result, and then it will just be a step for us for further victory. We will never stop until we win.
Attorney Luke Espiritu, who took the internet by storm since last night, and now 18,300 ba? 18,300 followers on Twitter. Thank you so much for being with us. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat.
This Sunday, yet no other candidate seeking a Senate seat. 3 former officials of the Duterte administration will take part in our 7th CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. Former Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission Chairman Greco Belgica, former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, and former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque will answer issues facing the nation. Watch them side by side as they bear their platforms and stances on various matters. That's happening